The flat earthers love this map. This is another 6-player fixed card game on the reverse world map, but I've heard some people calling it the flat earth map. Either way, as you can see, this map is not really anything like a globe. We already conquered the round earth many times in the previous games, so it's the time to do the same with the flat earth as well. I'm the red player in this game, and so far I'm not sure which continent I will be going for. But I mean, obviously it won't be the one someone else will be already going for, as it would just make both of us destroy each other. There are more continents than players in the game, so I will definitely find one. Though the question is whether it will be suitable or not. But probably it will. As of now, I'm considering between West Arctic or the continent in the top left, which would probably be a safer continent to hold, which would give me more guarantees assuming the neighboring players would be friendly. But the downside is that probably I won't be really able to expand to anywhere, and with that I will be more dependent on other players' moves, especially with me only getting 3 troops, the least continental value in this game. And another possible choice for me is Pacifica East, or the bottom right continent, which would give me 5 extra troops, which would be already a better deal for me assuming I would be able to successfully hold it. Probably more people would be considering to invade me into it. But if not, I guess I could get the opportunity to expand, especially with nobody going for India, and with that the game would be much more dependent on me rather than me going for West Arctic. And as you can see, I decided to go for the Pacifica East. With the white player being the only player who wanted to be allied with me, it would have actually been a good idea to go for West Arctic, because I would have been sure to not get invaded by him, so I wouldn't have had to really guard the borders against him. But a good advantage for going for the Pacifica East is because it seems that only the pink player is going for a continent next to me, while all other players will be quite next to each other. There are a bunch of players in the left side on the map and in the middle. So my guess is that someone will definitely get into a war, and there will be some eliminations made over there. While with me being in the right side, I think I should be more safe of avoiding getting into the conflicts. And probably the pink player is the only player I should be worried about when it comes to the short term, but I mean, he just recently accepted my alliance request, so I assume with that we might be friends as well. I just need to get my continent before he captures his one, so he couldn't really ruin the game for me or so. And I mean, obviously other players could attempt to invade me, but I think firstly they will be prioritizing of getting continents for themselves, and that's actually another good reason to get a continent for yourself as soon as possible before anyone else got one. So with you being the first one to receive the continental troop bonuses, you would be in the advantage, and other players couldn't invade you so easily anymore or do that much of a damage. But obviously don't forget to stay smart when going for continents. You wouldn't like to clear out a continent for someone else, so look around and see if there are not some players who would have some bigger armies near. You wouldn't like to do the dirty job for them and get immediately eliminated from the game. So stay wise about it. I'm happy to be the player to capture a continent first, and I think I will actually be able to hold it. As the white player already made his turn, the green player doesn't have access. For the yellow player it wouldn't make much sense. The black player disconnected and became a bot, and the pink player sent me the thumbs up. So actually with the black player becoming a bot, I decided to add the most of troops in the border next to his troops, so it wouldn't invade me randomly. Also, I'm very thankful to the white player for removing his 3 troops from my continent. So far he is a really nice and sweet ally. And with that I decided to move out my 3 troops from the Western Arctic, the continent in the top left corner, but so far not sure whether he will go for it, or invade the green player into his continent, starting a war, which probably wouldn't be too smart for him. So maybe unless he would get like a 10 troop set and could just wipe the green player out. And actually he does. So if I were the white player, I would probably attempt to completely take the green player out. As the green player is the biggest competition for him, which if stays alive will be as decent with him, while if it was destroyed, then the white player could potentially dominate the whole left side by himself. That's unlikely for the green player to have a set at 3 cards, So probably the green player wouldn't have been able to retaliate even with the white player failing to take him out. So personally I would say that would have been worth the risk for the white player to take the green player out. As the black player is a bot which he shouldn't really care about, then the yellow player is relatively weak and still looking to get a continent for himself, then I'm his ally, and the pink player is on the right side next to me. Though obviously showing the alliance sign towards me with not guarding his borders next to me. After all, I think the pink player might have been the one the white player might have worried about with him having some territories near. But then looking from another perspective, if the white player sees that I and the pink player are in the strong alliance, then actually it would be better for him that the green player would stay in the game, so as long as the green player wouldn't be an enemy for him, but it looks like they're friends now, so it might actually be even better for the white player that the green player is alive. As otherwise he would have stayed in the game with two other players who have a decent position and are in the strong alliance. While now the white player won't be so alone. As again the black player is a bot, and the yellow player is barely surviving. Actually I considered betraying the pink player in the last turn, because mostly I sent him the alliance request so he wouldn't invade me and I didn't really think about doing something with him in the long term, and mostly would have liked to dominate the whole right side by myself. But actually that's a good thing that I didn't, as the pink player actually had a 6 troops set at 3 cards, so with that he would have retaliated and my position wouldn't have been as great anymore. So I'm glad that the pink player being the player who has a turn before me, meaning that he gets to trade in the sets before me, and then with the pink player having some territories in India next to my other borders, I decided to after all not invade him. And now obviously it wouldn't make much sense anymore. As one thing it would just be a waste of troops to start a conflict with him and fight until he would be destroyed, as I think he would obviously like to retaliate. So with that I would rather build my strong position and slowly expand to India, with the time possibly capturing it. And then another thing is why I wouldn't like to get into a conflict with the pink player is because the white player seems to be really expanding while the green player is absolutely fine about it. And the green player declined my alliance request, which make the things even more unfortunate. So if it's very unlikely for the green and white players to get into a conflict with each other, then I think it would be better that along with me there would be another decent player in the game, which with me would be able to balance the green and white players out. As I wouldn't really like to end up in the situation with the green and white players alone, especially if I were very weak. I mean, the white player is my ally, so he might be more or less good about me, but I wouldn't be so much guaranteed about the green player who declined my alliance request at all. All in all, the white player would be favored in this situation. Now in this turn I was thinking whether I should try taking out the yellow player or not. But after all I decided not to, and just set my troops in the way to capture and guard India. As I think if taking the yellow player out, I would have just cleared out the yellow player's continent for the green player. While now I get another continent only for myself, but not giving some continent for anyone else. So the green player will actually have to take the yellow player by himself if he wants that continent. But honestly it would be better that he wouldn't take the yellow player out, as I think the yellow player being very weak wouldn't consider attacking me himself, while would just separate me and the green player from each other. So just with me getting quite more troops, so the yellow player would actually work like a shield for me from the green player. Now the green player, if not taking the yellow player out, should really consider attacking me and seeking to invade me into my continents, as the white player by taking a continent from pink really declared a war on pink, and with that it would be the best for either me or the green player to end up in the 3-player situation with them, as while they're both be fighting each other, one of us could just continue getting and hoarding troops or just expanding. So I would say it would be in the best interest for the green player to get rid of me, while for me to get rid of the green player. So assuming the yellow player would stay relatively weak and wouldn't take the advantage over that with both of us fighting. So actually I'm in a better situation right now, as with capturing another big continent I will be getting quite more troops than the green player. so meaning that eventually with starting to have way more troops than him, I could attack him without really big consequences. While now myself I don't really that much bothered about the green player having a continent, as he doesn't get that much of troops like me. So every turn I will look much more stronger in the comparison with him. But obviously I have to guard against him, also since the white player just wiped out the black player from the Mediterranean continent, so with him just needing to capture one more territory of mine to fully finish taking it, I think that I will be appreciated by the white player and will show to him that we are still in a good alliance even though we haven't really done much together after all those turns. Though I'm not sure how the pink player reacts to it, with the white player being his biggest enemy, the pink player might not appreciate my decision at all to let the white player finish capturing another continent. But I mean, we are going to see how it goes. I think the pink player's main focus will be the white player anyway, and right now my biggest focus is the green player. I'm bothered about him the most. And actually I'm not sure whether the green player was just going to invade me or not, or what he wanted to do at all. But it looked like he was really going close to me and probably stopped just because there were 4 troops of the white player, so I assume he didn't want to go through them because he really wants to stay in the strong alliance with the white player. At least I really think so, that they're in the alliance. I mean, they must be, because even with the white player getting strongly weakened by pink, the green player still doesn't attack white. Though obviously it wouldn't really make too much of a sense to do so, as the biggest threat in this game is really me. I'm getting quite more troops than anybody else, and with that happening it would just be dumb for other players to strongly fight each other. Meanwhile, the yellow player is really pushing the boundaries by leaving his biggest army next to me, and at the same time is really asking me to take him out, which I'm definitely going to do. There's not really worth the risk of getting invaded by him once he trades in the set, and then there's no purpose to let him survive and be another opponent, which potentially could mess my plans. I mean, I would retaliate to him, but then the green player might really get an opportunity to decently attack me, and this isn't something what I want. And with the yellow player being so weak while at 4 cards, I just wasn't going to get any better opportunity to take him out like that and be compensated at all. And I think just the most random thing happened of the green player sending me an alliance request while with the white player immediately invading him into his continent. I'm not really sure what has happened here, but I assume that the white player wasn't satisfied in the alliance with the green player, and with that just decided to destroy himself on him. So I think the white player has really had enough and is done with this game. Also with that, the alliance with the green player for me isn't really needed anymore, since now I will just probably be dominating the game, but I mean, I will just enjoy having it by getting another continent which I don't even have to guard at all. So why actually not? Why actually not let me hold like half of the map and meanwhile fight each other? Sounds like a plan, doesn't it? And I think I will just enjoy the moment. I don't really want to push the things too fast and will just enjoy watching the world burn by letting others destroy each other. So like, it would be really nice if they wiped out each other for me, so I wouldn't have to do it by myself. Well, actually not sure what is more fun, whether is to watch others destroying each other or to destroy all of them by myself. Actually I think that I want to minimize the borders, so I think it's the time when I break the alliance with the pink player. The pink player was a nice servant, but now he would just be too weak for me to do anything. As basically the white player threw the game by self-destroying on green, or I mean maybe not through but just sped the things up, as nobody was attacking me anyway, letting me receive tons of troops. And yeah, the white player is just hilarious. I love him. But other players in this game probably hate him. The green player at this point should just wipe the white player out from the near area, as otherwise the white player will just probably invade him again, and it would be especially terrible for green if the white player actually has a set. He might even completely taking the white player out right now. Well, he stopped. But I think he should have really tried doing so, as even if failing, the cards would have been left for the pink player, which might be using his troops on attacking me now. We are actually going to see what he is going to do. and it actually looks that he is going to invade me through my weaker border, but the good thing is that even with that he won't be able to invade me into any other of my continents, which as you can see are properly guarded. So let's actually properly guard that border as well. Honestly, looking to the troops counter, I could just attack all of my opponents at once, but I just haven't done having some fun, so let's have some of it while it lasts. The green player actually requested me to let him capture that bottom middle continent by pointing with his 2 troops into my army, so I actually decided to push it back and let him do so. While actually the only reason why I did so being in such big advantage and not needing any help from the green player either, is because I just want to have some fun to straightly invade him into that continent without him even letting receive the bonus. Basically, I just want to have some fun playing with my food before I eat it. And honestly, it's hilarious that the white player is still in this game invading the green player into his continent. The green player really made a mistake by not trying to wipe him out from the nearby area. It's just better to give away another player with his cards for someone else rather than leaving that aggressive player alive and getting constantly invaded again. But the white player is finally gone and will be always remembered in our hearts. He was so desperate to attacking the green player, so let's actually do so. He will be proud of me. No, but honestly, it's getting a little bit boring to play with my food, so I'm really looking forward to conclude the game before it even got more ridiculous. Unfortunately, we haven't got to see the pink player attacking green, or the green player attacking pink, but at least the white player gave us some hilariously good entertainment for sure. Unfortunately, I've got disconnected, so it didn't count that I invaded the green player into his continent and then wasn't able to get to the pink player's one as well. And actually now, with that pink player's territory being taken, he invaded me into one of my continents again. But I will try to finish this game soon. I have had enough of it as well and wouldn't like to stay here for another hour. I think the green player is hilarious by sending me thumbs up here. I invaded him into his continent and he is still being a good and loyal servant. And that's just funny. Though on the other hand, it's not really something up to him to do with me obviously dominating and winning this game. But unlike the pink player at the end, he was a good puppet, a marionette for me, and with that I will give him the second place in this unranked game. Well, actually, because the black and pink players are barely alive, so I want their cards to trade in the sets and get more troops to finally finish this game for good. Don't get me wrong, I actually really appreciated the green, white and pink players as my allies. Well, the green player only sent the alliance at the end when I was very strong, but whatever. But the white player helped me out to get a continent in the beginning of the game by fortifying his troops out of it. And then the pink player was the best neighboring player ever by basically not guarding the borders against me at all, so that was actually kinda heartbreaking decision to betray him. But I mean, I wasn't going to let my surviving opponents get a bunch of continents as well and become as strong as I was, or even wait till they start getting more troops than me combined. I wanted to take the win and just have some casual fun before actually taking all of them out. And now for another non-classical map, I would recommend you watching this video as well. That's another interesting game with a lot of interesting attacks, diplomacy, and strategy. So make sure to check this one out as well.